you given respect, you're valued, you feel so good in this organization. Everybody is treated fairly. It's a wonderful place to work. That is an indication of a good work environment. Doesn't cost much money, I can tell you that. This is all in the mind. It's an attitude which people have to develop.
Good morning, Commander, and welcome back to today's podcast.
Morning, Taj, and namaskar to everyone who's watching this episode.
So our first question for today is, how can dealerships implement effective monetary fair pay systems?
Right. I think in our last episode, we did cover the importance of having a very attractive monetary package so that we get good people on board our dealerships. Now, before I get into the details, I think we need to understand a couple of facts. One is that we are not attracting people from the very top academic institutions, not even the second tier. The kind of people that we attract today into our industry is basically the third tier. And the second fact is that we are competing with, the FMCG, the hospitality industry, the logistics industry, and things like the e-com. These are the other places which also vie for the same, group of people who come to us. So these two facts that we must keep in mind. Now, having said that, when we get into developing or devising a fair package system, in our industry, especially in auto dealerships, we have fairly a large cross-section of people, various. There's the technical job, there are customer care, there's back office, there's finance, etc., etc. But I think our discussion today, we will limit to only talking about sales consultants, because that being the most productive, I would think, more frontline, and also where we have the maximum attrition rates. So I think devising a fair package system for the sales consultant, I think that will become the basis on which other pay systems can also be devised. All right. Now, if you look at what is the current salaries that, say in Bangalore, dealerships pay to fresh sales consultants, I am told it varies from 15,000 to 18,000 rupees per month. This is gross, all included. Now, if you look at what the authorities or the state has laid down, what they call the minimum wages, I think it's almost 18,000 rupees. So our dealerships are just about meeting that, and how they manage to comply with these regulations. But that's where the minimum salaries or wages are prescribed. Now, my suggestion, or what I would recommend, is that if you are going to stay with this very low salary, then we will not even get people from the third tier. We'll probably get from the fourth tier and less. So I would just say that we should make sure that our minimum salaries for a fresh sales consultant should be at least 25% above this 18,000 rupees. Plus, additionally, I would give that surprise element of 10% to make someone who is aspiring to join us feel very comfortable. He said, I didn't expect this. I'm getting 10% more than what I expected. So I would just put it that a fresh sales consultant in Bangalore, as a reference, should be paid 25,000 rupees per month. Everything else in terms of, incentives or other perks like health cover, education allowance, transportation, etc., those are things that only add to whatever you're offering. But the basic salary shouldn't go less than 25,000 rupees. Now, the first question that people ask is 25,000 rupees for everyone. This is something that has to be very clearly understood. If you are going to pay 25,000 rupees to everyone who joins us, then I think we are going to get into trouble. So this is where we must have a very robust selection process, every dealership. Now, from what I know is normally sales consultants, freshers coming in will be met by a junior person from the HR, maybe a team leader here, there, and somebody selects them, sales manager says, fine, go ahead and take them. I think this is a very counterproductive, because if you're going to pay 25,000 rupees, the aim should be to get the best available talent in that salary bracket. So you should devise a very strong selection process, which means we should be able to assess the basic qualities that is required for a sales consultant, which to my mind is someone who's got good communication, a good bearing, good manners, and someone who looks energetic. And from the family background, someone who is very needy, who has got the appetite to earn more money. These are things that you can sort of, sort of assess when you carry out a very detailed and a very professional interview. This must be conducted, to my mind, by the head of HR and possibly even by the CEO and the dealer principal, because these are your frontline people. You're going to pay them a good salary. Let's not get people who don't deserve it. So the selection process has to be extremely professional and very robust. The second part to this paying 25,000 rupees is that if you have taken them after this interview, they must be put through a very, very structured training. A training to make sure they get the skills necessary to carry out the duties. It's not good enough getting the guy and putting him onto sales. He must go through this, for again, you require a dealership to have very defined, what you call a training curriculum conducted by a very professional trainer. Now, we will talk about this more in detail because the whole training is something that deserves a better understanding and better discussion. So we will do that later. But the training could be 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks. The longer the better, as long as it is done with a purpose and very objective. So salary plus training, you will get a fantastic product who will definitely deliver good results. Now, having done this, now the challenges. The first challenge is from within the organization, because nobody wants to pay more. Because they say, when I'm paying 18,000 rupees, why should I pay 25,000 rupees? I can assure you one thing. This is from personal experience. If you get the right guy, you don't need too many sales consultants. So in a dealership which is managing with 10 consultants, you can reduce to 6. You can get better results out of these 6 people than what you are currently getting with 10 people, provided you get the right kind of people and right training is done. So you see, you are not actually putting in more money. You are saving money, you are improving your productivity. This is something that the dealer principals must understand. That is the first part. Now, the second part, which is even more challenging, is the kind of norms that OEMs set on dealerships, saying a consultant cannot sell more than 5 cars or 6 cars, which to me, I really haven't understood the logic of this. Because I know from personal experience, again, that we have done consistently per consultant 12 cars for a long period of time, without compromising on the quality of sales. That must be clearly. It's not that we sold cars and there were customer complaints. Sold cars where customers were extremely happy. And how did we measure those happiness? Good SSI score. Plus, those customers brought back a lot of references, which is an indication that they were very satisfied customers. So I think the OEMs need to take a backseat in this. Let the dealership decide how many people should be there in the sales team, rather than imposing, saying this is the number. Because by imposing the numbers, dealerships are constrained to take people at a lower salary. Now, this is completely counterproductive. You get more people with less productivity, and also in terms of the problems that brings along. So I believe good quality will bring you better quantity in terms of sales. It is not that more number of sales consultants will get you better quantity or better quality. Both doesn't work. So I think we need to understand this. Now, if you do this, bringing in a good salary package, good selection process, and good training, you will have a good package as far as sales consultants. Now, using this as a benchmark and the template, you can devise the same for everyone else in the dealership.
Yeah.
The premise is you give the best salary that the industry offers, better than the best. Have less number of people. You can apply this where it is a front office, where it is the back office, accounts people, HR, everywhere. Less people, better paid people. I think then the job is.
Just keep improving the quality and the quality of manpower.
Absolutely.
Should be
and have less number of people. Your cost of manpower doesn't go up. In fact, comes down and you get better productivity.
Yeah. How can people foster growth in this industry?
When someone joins an organization, he should have some assurance in terms of how he can see his career progressing. Now, to have this, the most important thing is the dealership must have a very documented, career progress or career growth plans. This cannot be something which is ad hoc, left to somebody's whims and fancies. So the HR manual of the organization must specify how a person will be evaluated, and given opportunities to go. Because what happens is, many times it is done very impulsively, very subjectively. Complete lack of objectivity comes in. So this manual is something that can really help. Now, for example, let's look at a sales consultant. If he joins in as a fresher, he must know from his manual, HR manual, that between 3 and 5 years' time, he can be considered for the role of a team leader, provided his performance is good. Similarly, maybe in 7 years' time, he becomes a sales manager or a branch head, so on and so on. So you know exactly where you can take your career forward. Yeah. Now, this must mean also that there must be a proper evaluation system, because it cannot be just picked up anyone whom you like and promote the person. So the evaluation process also must be very clearly defined. How do you carry out the evaluation of performance so that someone can be identified as a potential candidate for promotion? So that also must be part of the HR man. This must again be followed by a training to upskill the person. Now let's look at a sales concept. He may be an excellent guy in selling cars, good SSI, good customer interaction. But when he becomes a team leader, one of the most important attributes is leadership, because he's getting to the next level where he has people working under him. How is he as a leader? How is he as a part of a team effort? Does he inspire people? Now, it's very important to train people into getting those skills. Also, at the time of evaluation, you can probably sense, and from what you have seen in the showroom, does this guy have leadership qualities? Now, I want to share a process that we used to do. If we identified a person as a potential candidate for promotion to, say, team leader, we used to give him an opportunity to do the duties of a team leader without actually promoting him. We used to call this as assistant team leaders. He used to be given 2 or 3, relatively junior sales consultants under his watch. He continues to perform his sales duties, but he has 2 or 3 people under his wings whom he guides, he nurtures, he counsels and takes them along to see that their performance goes up. Now, he's compensated for this. It's not that he does it free. We don't want him to feel that he's somewhere compromising on his productivity by helping somebody else. So he's also compensated. Yeah. Now, we have a very defined process of evaluating this person when he's an ATL, assistant team leader. And if he meets this is for about 3 to 6 months. And if he qualifies, then this person is kept as a standby for the next promotion that comes. Now, you see that we are also not taking too much of risk. During this period of being an assistant team leader, we are assessing him whether between this 3 and 6 months, has the performance of the consultants under him improved? Have they become better in the process handling? And we know this guy can work as a team and he can definitely be a good team leader. So I think we need to have evaluation process and a good training to make people go on to the next level. And I think if we can offer people good growth opportunities, they stay back. But again, the challenge here is from within the organization. What I've seen is in dealerships, the senior guys don't want to have someone moving up. They would rather take somebody from the industry, poach somebody from another dealership and bring that guy in, not knowing his background, except for the fact that guy will say, I've done this, this, this. Bring him on board, you will find he has got a whole lot of trash in his baggage, and then you have to get rid of that. It is going to cost you more money. Plus, it costs resentment within the organization because somebody better than that guy has not got a promotion. Right. So I think the mindset has to change, and it has to change from the top, starting from the dealer principle, where they say, look, I'm not going to take anybody from the industry. I will have my own people moving. If you put that as a mandate, then you will find that you create growth opportunities. People stay back because they said, look, if I'm good, why should I go anywhere else? I'm going to go within my own dealership. Yeah. So I think this is a wonderful thing, but it has to be done very professionally. Dealership must have an HR manual which defines this whole process of career growth, evaluation, training, etc.
What initiatives do you think dealerships can take to improve the retention of employees?
Right. I think, again, I think my previous episode, I spoke about 3 factors that will attract good talent and keep them. One is a good, compensation package, monetary package. We already discussed that. Second is a growth potential or growth opportunities that we can offer, which we just discussed. The third very important factor that can reduce attrition is something called the work environment. Now,
Right.
before I get into that, there's something that we all, tend to forget. Have you ever looked at it and says, what is the cost of attrition? There's a cost of attrition, which we
Yes.
don't really look at. Now, let's again look at a sales consultant, because he's a guy who has got a maximum churn.
Yeah.
Yeah, by a thumb rule, this is again not that I picked up from somewhere. My thumb rule is, when a guy leaves an organization, the cost of attrition to the organization is 5 times his salary. Now, what is this 5 times
Really?
his salary?
Wow. Okay. That's quite a...
Let's look at a sales consultant drawing 40,000 rupees per month as salary. I'm not looking at his incentive, etc. Leave that aside. So if he's taking home 40,000 as salary, his 5 months becomes 2 lakhs rupees.
Yes.
That is the cost of attrition to the company. Now, how does this actually justify? When a guy is going to leave, at least 2 months prior to that, his performance starts to come down, for sure. You can actually see people that something is happening in this guy. He was doing well. His performance is coming down. Obviously, his mind is not in the job. He's looking elsewhere. He's found something else. That itself is a loss of, to the organization. The second, that what happens is, when he leaves, you're looking for another guy. And most of the time, that the replacement, actually, you have to pay more money than we are currently, paying to this guy. Maybe 10%, 15%, 20%. That's additional cost. The third part is that you will find that the new person who is coming in, he needs to be trained. He's not going to come in and start going bang on. It takes a lot of time to settle down. He'll take 2, 3, 4 months to settle down and come to the level of the guy who left. Now, you see this entire cost, it was just a thumb rule that I put in, and says it is about 5 times the salary. Now, it can be more, it can be less. But I'm saying there's a cost of attrition. So our job should be, in dealership, should be that don't lose a good guy. If a guy is not doing well, definitely he should be asked more. But losing a good guy is not something good for the organization. So how do you control attrition? So we talked about a good monetary package. We talked about growth. The third thing is creating a good work environment. Now, this is something very subjective. What is a good work environment? I have a thumb rule for that too, how to guess, how to judge.
Yeah.
Now, if a guy gets up in the morning and says, I love to go to work, fantastic place. I have great colleagues to work with. My seniors are so nice, so affectionate, so caring. They're so motivating and inspiring people. They talk to you so well. You're given respect. You're valued. You feel so good in this organization. Everybody is treated fairly. It's a wonderful place to work. That is an indication of a good work environment. Now, on the flip side is a guy who gets up in the morning and says, oh shit, I have to go to work. Then obviously that organization has got up. Yeah. So you need to create a work environment where people love to come to work. That is what you call a work environment. Now, to get that into place is, again, it's not that you wish to have that, but you have to make sure that it happens. But again, you must have a very, very elaborate, documented work, HR manual, which sort of lists down the things that can make an environment very, very good for people. In terms of, say, compensations. Are they paid on time? Are the salaries paid on time? Are people getting their increments on time? Is there a very clear policy on sexual harassment? These are very, very important things. So everyone who comes in, or is there any strictures against people who talk, foul language, or someone who is disrespectful? Now, all this must be, sort of documented in your HR manual, which very clearly says this is an organization which does not support any kind of misbehavior. This is very important. Now, the person to drive a good work environment is not somebody in the middle level or low level. It has to be the CEO and the dealer principal. It has to come down. It's a top-down thing that makes an organization good. So very, very important to have a HR manual which amplifies all these things that is required. Plus, I would even suggest that you must have a listed, tenets of corporate culture. What are your tenets? What is that you require to be done? We had this done very clearly, and it is there, everyone knows. A simple thing like, it says that anyone can go and meet the senior-most person, without having to take approval, permission, etc. Somebody, even the washing guy, wants to go and meet the MD of the company. should be able to go to his office and meet him. The
Right.
door should be open to everybody. That's how an open organization is. So we had these tenets very clearly defined and stated and available to everybody. It is not kept in confines of under a cupboard or something like that. It is open to everybody. So I think if you create these tenets which people are aware of and you practice it, so this is where the dealer principle comes in, that it has to be driven. If you create a good work environment, I can assure you one thing, even if your salary package is a little less, people will think twice about leaving the organization because they love to be there.
Right.
I want to actually share two experiences, in my career. One was I used to go to showrooms on Sundays, especially in the initial days. And we had a roster only for people to work on holidays and Sundays. And I used to find lots of people, more than normal days. Why is so many of staff around here? So I used to ask, why are you here? They said, no, sir, we thought we'll just come and spend some time. People are happy to come.
That's an amazing
on a Sunday
to have created, yes.
Yeah, because they said, yeah, we come here, we meet some customers, do some work, meet up with your colleagues, you help somebody out who's not there. Somebody wants a test drive and that particular person is gone with somebody else, help them. So that whole thing, which is, self-created, it's something which comes out of your heart because you love your organization. The second incident that I want to narrate is, I remember with single showroom operations on a particular day, it was a religious festival, a lot of cars being delivered. So I just went down to the washing area where the new cars are getting washed, because so many customers, cars are coming in. I said, let me just see what's happening there. I was so pleasantly surprised to see my sales managers, senior consultants, taking out the shoes, roll up the trousers, and they're washing cars. Nobody told them to do it. This is something that comes from the heart because they take ownership of the dealership. That's their place. This will only come when there's a very endearing, enabling environment that makes people feel part of the organization. So I think it's very, very important that to reduce attrition, we must have a great work environment because people don't want to leave you because they said, I can't go and find another place as good as this. So I think, to control attrition, and like I said, the cost of attrition is huge. And it really unsettles a dealership which is trying to move ahead. So I think if you have good monetary package, good growth opportunities very clearly defined, and a good positive work environment, rest assured, attrition will come down. It doesn't cost much money, I can tell you that. This is all in the mind. It's an attitude which people have to develop.
Thank you, Kumar, for such an insightful journey. Everybody, we are learning more intricate and interesting things as we proceed. Keep tuned, and there will be much more information as we go ahead. Thank you, Kumar. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, and Oscar.